Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Nation's Pastime in the nation's capital. I'm your host, Andrew Snaith, here with my co-hosts, James Higgins and Robbie Cruz. And we have a fantastic show planned for you this evening. Going to talk a little bit about some predictions for the season. Spring training in full swing right now. We have all full squads have reported to either Florida or Arizona. We also have a little bit about some of the backlash that Commissioner Rob Manfred has been facing and some expectations for some teams throughout the 2020 season. But before we get into that, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Just a reminder, we are live right here on WCUA Radio every Wednesday night from around 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And all of our shows are posted in podcast form on our Twitter following the next day. That Twitter is at @NatPastimeCap. Please go ahead, follow that at @NatPastimeCap. And if you want to go ahead and call in and discuss anything baseball related that you desire tonight, that number is 202-319-5106, 202-319-5106. So with that said, we have talked a lot, and I mean a lot this offseason about the Houston Astros, and rightfully so because they were pretty much the topic of the offseason. So we're not going to go too into depth with what's been happening lately because, as our co-host here, James, said before the show very wisely, it seems like something new is happening almost every day with that. But I do want to touch on some of the comments by Rob Manfred and some of the reactions that have gotten out there on Twitter and other various means of media to his words. And it's getting to the point now where it seems like every single thing he says is just making the situation worse, even so that we have athletes in other sports making comments about Rob Manfred. Now, Robbie, I think one athlete in particular had some very choice words for the commissioner. You want to go ahead and expand on that real quick, given that I believe you have a certain allegiance to that athlete?
Yeah, my favorite basketball player in the NBA said that what Rob Manfred did was absolutely
Who is that, by the way?
LeBron James,
Yeah,
or as I like to call him, GOAT James. I think he's the greatest basketball player we've ever seen. A career 27.2 point per game average, 7.1 rebound per game average, 6.9 assists. But this isn't about LeBron James' stats, folks. This is about what he said. He basically said that if he was a baseball player, he'd be absolutely irate if he knew that one of the opposing teams was cheating against him, and he would be irate that they haven't done anything about it, and that basically Rob Manfred needs to get his act together. Now, my opinions and thoughts on that. LeBron's absolutely right. I never agree with anything that LeBron James says, but he was right on this one, and it was one of the best things and smartest things that he's ever said, I believe.
Yeah, LeBron James, not exactly one who's been one for the words in the past, and not exactly someone that I've really thought a whole lot of great things about. You know, the whole game show kind of thing where he picked his team always just left a sour taste in my mouth. I know he's a different guy now, but I will say I agreed with him, and I also think it's really important that we have big athletes from other sports now calling out the commissioner, Rob Manfred, for some of the just terrible things he's saying and doing, and the overall terrible way that he's handling a very big scandal here with the Houston Astros. And not only that with LeBron James, we see it with players as well in Major League Baseball. I haven't heard a single player who has just, tried to brush this under the thing.
Specifically,
here.
Justin Turner.
Yeah,
Justin
exactly.
Turner had the best comments about it, and he was the one who mainly spoke out about it. Well, first of all, he said that Manfred hasn't won anything in his life, which is true. Manfred hasn't won anything in his life. He also said that the reason why every guy's in the locker room, the reason every guy's working out all offseason, showing up to camp early and putting in all the time and effort is specifically for that trophy, which is, by the way, called the Commissioner's Trophy, which is the only thing that's a disgrace about the trophy. Those are Justin Turner's exact words, and that was in response to Manfred calling the trophy a piece of metal, and it is a lot more than a piece of metal. Guys work their entire careers for this. Fans live their entire lives to see their teams win one World Series. It means so much to the team, the fan base, the city, the community. It means everything. And for him to just call it a piece of metal, that's awful, because it's a lot more than a piece of metal. It's what guys live for, and it's what guys dream of winning. And to win it once is unbelievably hard to do. And to call a season and a career effort a piece of metal, I personally am disgusted by it.
Yes, it's
because
absolutely disgusting.
It's a lot more than a piece of metal.
And even though he apologized, I do believe he was sincere in his apology. I truly do believe that he's sorry for calling it a piece of metal. But the fact of the matter is, you're the commissioner of the sport, and you're calling the championship trophy that. Like, even if you even if you apologize about it, does that wash this thing right over? No!
Well, the thing is, he's put his foot in his mouth with a lot of things that he said this offseason, even in his presser yesterday when he talked about the Astros using the trash can in the 17 postseason, which contradicted what Correa said on Saturday, and he said he knew that because of statements from the players. Now, I find it very hard to believe that he didn't know what exactly else was going on, whether it was with buzzers or other cheating aids, and now he just doesn't want to open up this can of worms for the rest of baseball to know about, especially because all of this stuff was an open secret in baseball until Mike Fiers made it public to everyone this past November. Manfred knows everything that's going on, and we need to eliminate this problem. So he needs to do a much better job about punishment and about just letting everything out there.
So do you think that he's known about this and he just chose not to act on it? Is this a Bud Selig type thing?
I was about to say, so you think this is a Bud Selig type thing where he knew about the steroids and
except
this
is worse.
Yeah.
This is much worse than the steroids.
Oh, my
and if you ask any current or former pitcher, they said they much rather face a guy on steroids than a guy who knows what pitch is coming.
Not only that, my thing is, with the whole steroid era, it was all the players that were using steroids, but with this, it seems like it was just the Astros that were doing it.
It was just the Astros who took it to this
extreme. Which is why this is such a big problem. And yes, I'm well aware that the Yankees and the Red Sox cheated. The Red Sox cheated, yeah, so that's good. But this was clearly on a whole nother level than what the steroid era was, in my opinion, because they're ready for the pitches and they know what's coming. So it changes everything.
Yeah, one of the quotes that was absolutely fantastic that I wanted to point out about the Astros and them, the whole knowing what's coming kind of thing. Joe Girardi had a very fantastic quote today, and if you remember, Joe Girardi was on the other end of that cheating in 2017 when the Astros eliminated the Yankees in the 2017 ALCS. And did either of you see what he said about that? Essentially what he said was that if this sets the precedent for cheating going forward, that the positives, and especially I like the term he used, financial gain, far outweighs the possible punishments.
Absolutely.
So you agree
because this
with
was
that?
supposed to set a precedent for it, not supposed to let them off the hook and let other teams know that the players aren't going to be punished in terms for an immunity deal.
Yeah, and it essentially did. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
let them all completely off the hook, and we're not seeing any punishment.
And the
for
thing is, the Red Sox are most likely going to be vindicated by the end of this week. So I think Cora's punishment will probably just be the same as Hinch's.
the year suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read something interesting today. Somebody was saying that if Rob Manfred were to somehow go back and take away the Astros trophy, he'd most likely have to vacate the Red Sox's 2018 trophy as well.
No.
Do you think that's true?
I don't know.
Well,
because
I think we'd have to wait
no.
until the findings came out, right?
Yeah, and I don't think there would be any truth to that because Cora got fired for what he did in Houston. He did not get fired for what happened in Boston.
But as far as we know, we don't know.
we don't know what fully happened in Boston yet.
But let's be real. Renicky wouldn't have been hired if this was something legit. The players wouldn't be so adamant about their innocence if this was something legit. Because MLB has tipped them off that Renicky is essentially clean in this, and
That's why they hired him. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and multiple high functioning executives have said that the Red Sox are pretty much going to come out of this with little to light punishment.
So what would you say to Astro fans who say, if you're going to take away our World Series trophies, why aren't you taking away the Red Sox's?
What the Red Sox and Astros did was completely different, and I really don't think the Red Sox did much of anything. And the Astros trophy isn't getting taken away anyway.
No, it won't, but this is just a hypothetical.
And you have a lot of Astros fans who are scraping for anything at this point.
Right.
I mean,
I would say pretty much every team was using the replay room, which every team pretty much was.
I think at some point it was as well. I mean, you had teams.
Well, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, you had instances going back to 2014, 15. I'm
See,
sure you guys remember in Boston.
14, 15, 16, 17.
Yeah.
Until September 15, 2017, teams were in the replay room all the time.
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Yeah.
And also what I was going to say was there's an instance, I think it was in Boston when the Phillies were playing the Red Sox, we had a guy who had binoculars out in the bullpen.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes. I do remember
Yeah.
this. I do remember
And
this.
now it was never proven that was used for anything, but this kind of stuff has been
Right.
going on,
And
I feel like MLB knows, especially Rob Manfred.
And you're here to tell me that Carlos Beltran was the ringleader of the Astros sign stealing scheme, and he all of a sudden created that while he was in Houston, not while he was playing in New York, and then didn't carry that over when he was a special advisor with New York.
No, I think everyone was
No,
doing
I'm
it.
saying let's be real. New York was up to something. Boston was up to something in 18. Everyone was using the replay room in 18.
It was too big of an asset. I
Exactly.
mean, honestly, how
Exactly.
could you not almost? Especially
No.
with no one being able to catch you.
Exactly, and the replay room to me isn't that big of a deal, and I think Boston will be vindicated within the coming weeks. within the coming week, I think, actually.
Yeah. 202-319-5106 if anyone wants to call in and discuss anything about the Astros, anything about the cheating scandal, anything about anything baseball related as we approach the mid of spring training here. 202-319-5106. Something I do want to conclude on here as we move away from the Astros is one of the absolute most hilarious news headlines, reports, whatever you want to call it, that I've read in a long time, which was the fact that Jose Altuve gave his excuse for why he didn't take his shirt off after
Melissa tattoo.
Yes. For him not taking his shirt off after his walk-off home run to send them to the World Series this year. Now, in case you don't know, let me go ahead and give you the rundown here. Jose Altuve hit the walk-off home run to send the Astros to the World Series this year off of Aroldis Chapman. And when he was rounding third coming to home, he was making motions, don't take my shirt off, don't take my shirt off. Now, we've heard a number of different claims from this. The first time this was brought up was when the cheating scandal was being kind of uncovered, and people were like, "Oh, he's using buzzers. Like he have a buzzer under his jersey. They don't want people to see that." So his first, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the first excuse I remember hearing was his wife doesn't like when he
That's
sings
what he
shirts.
said.
That's
That's what he said. Firstly, then the second time it happened, which was last week. Correa, I believe.
It was Correa and Rosenthal.
Correa and Rosenthal, during their interview, Correa came out and said, oh, Jose Altuve was getting a tattoo. This is 100% real, by the way. Was getting a tattoo done in Oakland during the season. It did not get finished and looked very bad, so he didn't want that to be seen.
There is a problem with that. Okay, he said that it was in San Francisco, and the Astros did not play.
No, he said it was in, San Francisco. You're right.
He said San Francisco. The
I have
Astros did not play one game in San Francisco.
I have no issue with that because I'm sure they stay in San Francisco when they play the A's.
What, they don't want to stay in Oakland? It's a lovely city.
I know.
No, but honestly, that obviously
there
could be
is
the case,
one other theory that I did hear. I did hear that he didn't say the buzzer. He didn't say, like, don't take my shirt off, I have a buzzer in. Apparently, some people were saying he said something in Spanish. They were saying that he was speaking.
He was talking
in
to
Spanish.
Carlos.
He was probably talking to
they were
Correa,
saying that. They were saying that while he was running down the third baseline, he was saying stuff in Spanish.
Did you guys listen to the interview or not?
To the Correa one?
I saw the
listened to
whole
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
And that really angered me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I just think whether it's true or not, I think it's just absolutely ridiculous that this is the point we're at.
Well, also, like, do you remember the walk-off against Seattle that he was talking about earlier in the interview when he ripped his shirt off?
Of course.
Correa said that Altuve's wife called his wife and said, I don't like that. Don't do that to Jose again. So then Correa was the guy at the front of the pile when they beat New York.
So you think this is true then?
I mean, I'm not saying like it's 100% true, but why would you go to these lengths to protect him when?
When it's obvious.
Here's the thing: if Correa doesn't protect him, then that's going to look really bad on Altuve's part. He's just trying to protect his teammate. You know, it was funny because I was before we went on air today, I was watching that AJ Hinch interview again with Tom Verducci back in December.
Was that the tell-all or was that before?
No, the one on MLB Network that aired after
the
he
one
got
from
fired.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And I was watching it again, and I did notice something. When Verducci asks AJ Hinch about the buzzers, Hinch never denies it. He denies all these theories, but then when he mentions the buzzers, he doesn't deny it.
Well, then 6 days later, like when the Astros had the press conference and they reported to spring training, they most of them were giving the company line, but Springer and Correa said no, and Hinch reached out to Verducci, and he wanted to amend his statement, saying that I didn't know by saying the commissioner's report and all that wasn't directly answering the question. Then he did directly answer the question that no, there were no buzzers.
I can't use Correa as a source though, because we clearly saw he was a liar. He denied that the Astros did not cheat in the 2017 playoffs when Rob Manfred admitted, yes, the Astros did cheat in the 2017 playoffs. Another thing, Carlos Correa was also, I thought he was just very unprofessional during the whole interview, honestly.
Yeah, you think so?
I mean, telling Cody Bellinger to shut the F up. I mean,
did he say that?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. He did. Well, here's one thing, and if you can take this data for whatever you want to take it, because this was from 2017, but there were 57 home games charted by an Astros fan who listened for all the trash can bangs.
I saw
and
this.
out of 896 possible bangs for Altuve, he only received 24 bangs, which is 2.8% of the pitches.
Somebody did this?
Yes. There were a lot of pitches for Altuve that should have been trash can bangs that were not banged. And Correa's claim about Altuve telling the guy to not bang the trash can, I'm not saying Altuve wasn't a part of it, but when your percentages and Tony Kemp and Josh Reddick said don't use it for me, and they didn't use it for him, and he claims Altuve said the same thing, and there were 24 bangs. So you can take that for what it's worth. But that number is so low that part of you thinks that Altuve wasn't as fully bought in as a lot of the other guys were.
Well, that's a good point, and that does lead me into the final thing I want to ask about the Astros here. A lot of talk this week about the 2017 AL MVP, because as we know, Jose Altuve did win that. Now, we've heard different people express their opinions on whether or not it should have been him. We've heard guys like Bryce Harper say Aaron Judge should have won. We've heard other guys on the Yankees say Aaron Judge should have won. Bellinger said Judge should have won. You have a lot of different people coming out and saying that. I'm going to ask both of you right now. Now, I know Robbie is going to be a little bit biased, but
Let's let Robbie go first.
Well, I'll let you go first. I know you're going to say yes, but do you think there's enough proof to say that Aaron Judge should have
Before
won?
I actually answer this, so did you see the report that James was talking about?
Which one? The one with the trash can bank?
I looked at the whole chart.
Do you know? I'm going to ask you, Andrew, because I know you know this, James.
Okay.
Do you know which player had the most bangs on that Astros team?
I'm going to guess it's either Correa or Altuve.
It was neither of those guys.
No, it wouldn't be Altuve. Because I just said he had the lowest amount besides
correct,
Kemp.
yes.
Do you know who it was?
I think I do.
Wait, on the 2017
on the
Astros.
2017 Astros.
I'll say after he goes.
I'll give you. No.
I don't think it's Springer.
No, from the graph it looked like it was Springer, but I didn't.
If I remember correctly,
was it McCann?
It was Marwin Gonzalez.
Yes, it was Marwin.
Real? And didn't he have a career year that year?
Yeah, yep, he had a career year. Hit over 300. He goes from hitting 260 to hitting 304.
Do you guys remember in the time between November and January? I said on this show that Marwin Gonzalez probably implemented it.
Yes, you did say that. I remember that.
Do you guys remember that?
I do.
Because there was a source saying he came from another team. He was a veteran who had success doing it with another team before. And I looked at all the numbers from that year, and the first name that jumped out of my head was Marwin Gonzalez.
Wait, where did Marwin Gonzalez come from? I thought he was with the Astros in like 2015.
I thought he was with them almost the entire time.
I always
thought it was Reddick.
My guess was it was Josh Reddick. It was I thought it was
Reddick.
Reddick.
No, but Reddick had zero banks, so it wouldn't have been him.
Well, we didn't know that at the time. That's why.
No. But I'm saying like now we can look at the data and see that.
So where did Marwin Gonzalez play? Because that's actually, and also he was the first one to come out and apologize.
Marwin Gonzalez was?
He was the first position player.
He's the first position player.
Because Keuchel apologized.
Well, of course, yeah. But no, he was the first one to come out.
Technically, A.J. Hinch was the first to come out.
He was with Houston from 2013 on. But I promise you, I thought that Marwin Gonzalez because I think Carlos Beltran had to have help from someone.
Yes, he definitely did.
Yeah.
All right, so you think Judge deserves the MVP in 2017?
So my thoughts are that, yes, I do believe that he deserves the MVP because I think that there is enough evidence to prove that Altuve did cheat, even if it's just 3% of the banks. Altuve's season was so great that year that, who knows, maybe that guy missed a few pitches. Maybe, I mean, there's a lot of big ifs. I don't think that, since there are a lot of big ifs, I guess that we can't be so certain about this, but I'm still going to go out and say that Aaron Judge deserved the MVP. Because I think it would have been really historic. I think it would have been really cool.
Yeah,
but also,
absolutely.
I just think that there's too much potential of error, too much potential that Altuve really could have had a big advantage with this.
Now, also, Aaron Judge did not actually say anything about that. When they asked him, he was just like, whatever, right?
Well, he deleted his tweet and Instagram post. Like he didn't address it, but he just said the World Series wasn't deserved.
Didn't he deleted the congratulatory post?
Yes. And then he admitted
Altuve.
it. And he said that I'm pretty sure he said that the MVP award wasn't earned by Altuve.
Correct.
So.
No, he did. But I would like to bring up something interesting before I say my answers.
Sure, absolutely.
Jose Altuve in 2017 hit .311 at home, but he hit .381 on the road. Hit 9 homers at home, hit 15 homers on the road. Had an OPS of .834 at home and .1081 on the road. His numbers on the road were much better than his numbers at home. And you know they didn't have this advantage on the road.
Of course not.
Now, I'm not saying that his accomplishments that season weren't tainted.
Right.
But his numbers on the road were staggering that year. I'm still going to say Judge deserved the MVP, but it's an interesting point.
All right, very good point here. And we have a caller here, so we're going to go ahead and take him. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Who are we talking to?
Hey, boys. What's going on? It's Scott.
Hey, Scott. How are you?
The Astros stuff. How you all doing?
Sorry, Scott. Could you go to repeat that?
My question is, keeping with the Astros stuff, more on the other players' side, like the other players around the league. I know, like, Barstool's thrown out the number at 82 or 83.5 players to be plunked this year on the Astros, or the first player who's going to get hit by a pitch. Do you think the other players are going to go that route? And I think it's stooping down to the level a little bit, but I wanted to hear what you guys had to say about backlash from other players around the league, or what other teams are going to do to, I don't know, say they're displeased with how the Astros handled themselves and
Well, yeah.
the entire situation.
I think
as a
it's
whole.
very evident that a lot of players, by their comments, are not pleased with this Astros cheating scandal. A lot of them obviously take it very seriously along the fact that they can prepare for the season and do it so fairly without any advantage. I think you're going to see a lot of it. I was actually talking to Raleigh about this the other day about how far into the season we thought it was going to be before someone threw at an Astros player.
Oh, it'll be within the first week.
It'll be within the first week.
It'll be within the first week, and they're going to plunk Bregman or Altuve.
Oh, without
Here,
question.
I have a problem with that, though. My problem is Rob Manfred came out and said, if you throw at one of the players, you're getting suspended. You're going to suspend a pitcher for a longer amount of times than the guys who actually cheated. That's my big problem with this.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I think Rob Manfred is on a downward spiral right now. Not a good look for baseball, especially his comment recently about the commissioner's trophy. Imagine a trophy named after the commissioner of baseball, saying that it's just a piece of metal, that it doesn't have to be taken away from the Astros. I think
that was the worst thing he
face
said,
too.
by far.
Yeah, it's a slap in the face to baseball fans, and especially the players, too. I mean, if there's no value in a trophy of that stature, what are we playing for here?
Right. You know, it was interesting because I was watching ESPN First Take this morning, and Stephen A. Smith said something that I actually agreed with for once. He said that he believes that rather than throwing at the guys, he believes that the guys should simply just stop their friendship with the players. Like before games, you see the players usually give high fives to each other and like talk to each other in the outfield. Just not talk to them. Because then you're not worried about guys getting suspended. And I don't know. I don't know what's the thing. I kind of agree with that.
I think the Astros are finally the first baseball villain we've had since the late 70s Yankees.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And I can't wait for whatever Astros players are at the All-Star game this summer, which is at Dodger Stadium, how loudly they're going to get booed.
Yeah.
If the fans vote them in. I mean, I know they have
watch.
to have one representative, but...
Oh, man.
Yeah. I wish the Yankees-Astros series, I was talking to James about this. It's not until September, but
that's going to be
boy, if it
rowdy.
was in April, I think you would see an absolute zoo at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, my goodness. Are they coming to New York?
In
Is that-
September.
They're coming to New York in September, but that's a long
Oh,
time. I don't think
man.
it will fade away, but you got a little bit early. You definitely
With
see,
Yankee fans?
College
No. They won't
Series. I'm
forget.
a Yankee fan, yeah.
Yankees fans will never forget
Yeah.
this.
No. Yo, you
Yeah,
better be
not
down there at
for
the
a while.
stadium then. Gotta boo
Right?
Astros for us.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for the insight.
Thanks,
Hey,
guys.
thanks
Have a
for
good
calling,
one.
everybody. Have a
Yeah.
good night.
All right, I'll talk to you.
Yeah, that was another great point there about the plunkings that are sure to happen throughout the
and
season.
the rule is, quote, unrelated to the Astros.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Nothing
right.
to do.
Well, this is stupid because now the game can't police itself. And for years we've seen the game police itself. And now what are we going to do? Suspend a guy because they're PO'd at the Astros? This is what baseball's about. These are the unwritten rules that we absolutely love.
Absolutely.
You know, okay, so I was asking this to Andrew the other day, James. I said, if you were a teammate of a guy who intentionally threw at an Astros hitter, you immediately gain a ton of respect for them, do you not?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It galvanizes you as a team.
Exactly. So I'm just intrigued to see how quickly it's going to be. I want to guess third game of the season. By the third game, somebody's going to get.
They're playing the Angels.
Angels is the first series.
But it's in Houston, so they're not going to get booed,
Yeah, that's
obviously.
true.
That's true. They might wait till they're on the road.
Well, they're playing the Angels, I think, the week after in Anaheim.
Who on the Angels would do that though?
Whoever wants to send a message.
That's a good point.
Whoever Trout tells to go Bean.
That's a good point.
You know?
Yeah. Well, Robbie made a good point. Manea was really pissed about it. You could
Yeah,
see Sean
he
Manea
was.
throw at him during one of the first series they play the A's.
They're playing Oakland in Oakland.
the second
series.
series.
Yeah,
exactly.
And who else was mad? Ross Stripling was mad.
Yes.
They don't play him this year, obviously, but
What about Mike Fiers?
Yeah. You think Mike
Fiers needs to stay out of this for his own safety.
Man.
He should be the last person to hit anyone on that
Could you
team.
imagine the crap storm if Mike
That would be
Fiers
so bad.
threw it in
Well, the
Astros
thing is,
play?
especially because he benefited and won the ring. Like
Yeah,
for
he
me,
did.
that's the biggest. Like the whistle blowing, but. Like, dude, you want a ring out of it. Like, let someone else take care of it.
Yeah,
let
he
someone
needs-
else take care of it.
When the benches are clearing, he should probably just stay back a little bit.
Yeah, if he tries to hit someone, that would be the worst thing he could do.
Andrew, was it you who was asking me if somebody was going to intentionally hit one of the Astros players in spring training?
Well, I mean, what if the Nationals do it in their first game against them?
Oh, the Nationals?
Because they share
That's
the complex.
right,
They
they
play
share
the
the
first 2 games
complex.
against each other.
I was like, wouldn't that be very funny? First pitch out here, first game. You got someone just throwing at the
I don't
head.
think that's going to happen.
No,
but-
I don't either. It would be very funny, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, just putting up on us here, but look, there are some very PO'd people in baseball about this. I think this is going to be
But it's not going away anytime soon.
No,
like,
it's
the
not.
Astros are saying
It's
they want
not
to move
leaving.
on and they want it to go away. Like, it's
Nope.
not going away.
No, the Astros are making it impossible for it to go away.
Yeah.
When
They need
Carlos
to stop
Correa,
talking about it.
Carlos Correa, Josh Reddick, Crane, the owner, whenever they go out and say things like this, like, oh, yeah, we earned that trophy, or, oh, yeah, we're going to win the World Series again this year,
Yeah.
or, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you guys need
Yeah.
to shut up. Whenever you are laughing at the questions of people who are saying that you guys cheated, this is not going away anytime
Yeah.
soon. Don't go out and do that and then say, oh, yeah, we need to brush over and move on from this. It doesn't work that way.
The only guy who I think has shown legit remorse is George Springer, and like I've listened to everything that everyone said, and he's the leader of that team, and he seems like he's shown true legit remorse. And
Really? Not Altuve?
Wait, as the leader or like
As the
remorse?
leader. As the
Oh
leader.
gosh, no, but like I like listening to everything. I think Springer's the only guy who's shown true remorse, and the only guys I feel bad for are Dusty Baker and James Click,
Oh,
their
Dusty
new GM.
Baker's walking into just madness.
Like yes, it's a great job. Like when he was hired, but I don't think him or their new GM James Click could have imagined this like the way this has presented itself on day one of spring training. Those are the only 2 guys I feel bad
And think
for.
about it, he had nothing to do with it, and he's got to answer all these questions and defend
Exactly,
these guys.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's got to protect his players, and
Not only
it's
that,
weird.
imagine how the players around the league feel like they're going to be getting asked these questions for a long time.
Night in, night out, they're going to be getting asked
Almost
about
one
it.
of the first things we saw almost every big player asked as they reported spring training, no matter what team they are, was about the Astros.
Yeah.
You had Nick Markakis making comments. You
And he
had
never
Bryce
makes
Harper
comments.
making comments.
Markakis never
Yeah.
Man,
makes
who was
comments.
the other really nice guy that made a comment?
Chris
Mike
Bryant.
Mike Trout made a comment about how it wasn't deserved.
Chris Bryant?
Chris Bryant. You have these
Yu
guys who aren't
Darvish,
even playing
well, yeah.
the Astros making comments. Like, this is huge.
I think Chris Bryant hit it right on the head. I
Yeah.
think he had the best explanation out of anyone. But I also think Chris Sale had a great explanation. I don't know if either of you guys
I
heard
did
what he
see
said.
Sale.
I
Yes.
saw Sale's response to when they said, "Did you cheat?" And he said,
Well, okay,
"There's no way I could have cheated this
No,
past year
there's-
with how I pitched."
No, he'll have a bounce back
saw
year
it,
this
right?
year. Yeah, no, that was hilarious. But I really liked what Chris Sale said, because instead of like, yes, you can obviously pout about it and be upset about it, and I think the players have every right to do so because what the Astros did was absolutely egregious. But he also talked about how, what can you do at this point? Like he thought in game 1 of the LDS against Houston, like he did not look himself. He gave up 7 runs, I think, in 4 1/3 innings, and I was screaming at my TV saying how we traded Moncada and everyone for him, and he didn't show up. But then 3 days later at Fenway, he shoved for 4 1/3 innings before Bregman tied the game off him. And he thought that they had something on his pitches, but he was like, what are you going to do? Go out there and complain? No, you still have to go out there and compete and just put your head down. It's in the past now. It's over with. And I think that's kind of the perfect response to it, because he gets it. He knows that A, they wronged him, but B, he can't do anything about it. You still have to go out there and compete. Going off and complaining about it's not going to change anything.
No, absolutely not. The quote there, did you see the quote from him about that game? He said, I was standing on the mound. I was like...
I was trying to find it. I couldn't find it. Yeah.
Yeah, the quote was, I was standing on the mound there, and this is during LDS game 1 when he got, I think it was, 6 earned runs, 5 earned runs?
It was 7 earned runs.
7 earned runs.
Altuve had 2 bombs off him. Bregman hit a bomb. It was
in
4
4
1/3 innings. Yeah, he got
Yeah.
roughed up in the 4th or 5th inning, and that was a forgetful series. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, no, his quote. I was standing on the mound. I was like, how the heck are they doing this? They're hitting breaking balls over the fence, hitting fastballs at their neck. And yeah, it crosses your mind, but what kind of idiot do you look like if they actually weren't? I'm not going to sit here and say they were cheating because I don't have 100% evidence. I mean, I guess there is in the investigation, but in that specific scenario, I do not know.
Yeah, like he gets it. He gets it. And then the next day, Pomeranz had by far the best year of his career that year.
Yeah.
And I remember Correa had like a 12 pitch at bat against him in the first inning, and he had a curveball at his knees out of the park in the first inning. And I was sitting there like I was just shell shocked. But I mean, all this stuff starts to make sense now.
It really does.
Especially because the game's in Boston much closer than the game's in Houston.
Absolutely much closer. We got another caller here, so let's go ahead and take him. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Who are we talking to?
Peter.
What's up, Pete? How
hey,
you
how
doing?
are you?
Hey,
Hey, first-time caller, long-time listener.
There
Oh,
we go.
thank
there
you
we
very
go.
much. We
Hey,
appreciate
thank
that,
you.
Peter.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to ask about the line said 83.5. See how many Astro players get in. Think it's gonna happen?
Over. I'm going over. I
Way
don't care
over.
about what Manfred said. Over.
25.
No, 83.5.
Oh, 83.
3.5. It's the line. I don't know if it gets there.
Like the
Astros got hit
Mets,
6.
but the thing is, the Mets got hit 95 times last year. No one was trying to hit anyone on the Mets. So like
Yeah.
it happens sometimes. Like teams will.
So you think way over?
Oh, I think it'll reach like 90 between 97 and 100.
I'm gonna say at least 95.
Because yes, it just happens in baseball, and B teams are going to be especially trying to throw at them.
Absolutely. What about you, Peter?
Come
What do you
August,
think?
though, come August, when you're fighting for that AL West division, you really think the Angels are going to be beating the Astros?
Yeah,
This is going to be a season-long thing, I believe.
I do, and it might carry over into multiple years.
I
Because,
mean, hey, like we said, it's not going away anytime
Yeah,
soon.
was it? I think before the show we were saying the Yankees and Astros don't play until
September. Well,
I'm
they
telling
play-
you, there's going to be some
Yeah.
Yankee that goes out there and hits him. If CeCe Sabathia were still on the team,
he'd do it.
be the first.
well,
guy
they're
to do
playing
it.
them in May or June in Houston,
Would they do it in Houston though?
probably.
Yeah.
Peter, what do
they'll
you
absolutely
think?
Send a message. They'll
Peter, what do you
absolutely
think?
Send a message. They'll absolutely send a message in Houston.
Yeah.
You're telling me Severiano is not going to plunk someone? Yeah, right in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh
easily
yeah,
could.
Severino would probably
Oh,
do it.
Peter, over or under 83.5?
I'm going under. I just think from a baseball standpoint, they're not going to do it. It'll be like 70 something.
That's fair.
It's part of the game, but
Yeah.
it's not gonna break that.
Yeah. All right.
That's very fair. All right. Thank you very much,
No.
Peter. Have a good night.
Thanks, Peter. Have a
I
good
got
one.
one more question.
Thank
for
Oh,
you
sure.
guys.
One more
Yeah.
question? Yeah, absolutely. What's up?
So I've seen this one report, and I don't think that what the Astros happened to them was enough. I think there should be a little bit more. I saw a postseason ban, and I feel like that's kind of the equivalent of a death penalty that happened to SMU. You think that that's deserved? Instead of taking away the title, I think the title is the title.
Mhm.
It happens just like when Reggie Bush won a Heisman kind of thing.
Right.
But you can't. You think postseason ban, more draft picks? I don't know. I think maybe 2 years of draft picks.
Like, yes,
What do you think?
I think it would be warranted, but I also think then you get in a dispute with the players' union because the players are playing for nothing at that point.
Oh, they're playing for their money.
The
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, I guess.
But the players won't ever argue the money.
No, I know, but you get like there's no end goal in sight.
I mean, a lot of them
Yeah.
don't play with an end goal in sight anyway. You got guys like making millions of dollars on teams that would never make the postseason. I mean, like Mike
Chris
Trout on the
Davis.
Eagles. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, I think that's a very good point. I personally would have been absolutely fine with a postseason ban, 1 or 2 years. I
With
think
the
it would have been
Astros?
fine.
I think
Absolutely.
it kind of would kill the franchise
yeah,
for sure.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
The fans have to
Well,
root for
the
it,
problem
but
with the Astros is this franchise is for years we've been always suspicious stuff going on with them.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
people have been accusing them of cheating since 2017. Then you have the whole Roberto Ozuna thing. Then you have guys who can't stand guys like Justin Verlander. And then you have people who are coming out of nowhere and pitching like aces like Charlie Morton.
like Charlie Morton. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
No disrespect
I mean-
to Charlie Morton, but
From a statistical standpoint, a lot of players when they'll with the Astros and the Tampa Bay Rays, when they're getting drafted, they'll usually offer or tell them they'll sign for less if they can sign with those two organizations. So some of it is the player development way above everyone else in the league, but still, there's something else going on. And you saw Trevor Bauer last year going off about the Astros and using substances on the balls. So
Yeah.
there is something there too, but
Wait.
it's just not as deeply defined.
Pine tar. He's talking about
yeah,
pine tar.
do you guys know if the Reds and Astros played all this year though?
No, they played last year.
No,
they
this
won't
year
play for a while.
the NL East has the AL
Yeah.
West
Do you think
this year.
Trevor Bauer would hit one of the guys, right?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, my
yeah.
God, yeah.
yeah,
Alex
yeah.
Bregman for sure, because he has a rivalry against Alex Bregman.
Oh, he
Yeah,
Bregman's
oh,
earned
absolutely,
him
absolutely.
his entire career, so he would hit Bregman in a second.
Oh,
Yeah,
without
absolutely.
question.
He'd spank him.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, I think Alex Bregman was the one who posted a highlight video to his Twitter of him hitting home runs off of Trevor Bauer, right?
It was off
that
of
him?
Volde.
Yeah,
No, he
I'm,
did it off of Bauer.
I'm
too.
pretty
did
sure.
off Bauer.
Yeah.
It was somebody off.
I'm
Bauer,
pretty
I
sure
think it was.
Trevor Bauer offered him $10,000 per home run he'd off him if he came out to Kent, Washington, and trained.
Yeah, you're
at
right. You're
Trevor
right.
Bauer's facility for a month or something like that. He offered him $10,000 per home run he hit.
Trevor Bauer.
You love to see stuff like
We
that,
love
though.
Bauer.
You really do. Trevor Bauer, a national treasure.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Peter. Have a good one.
Thank you, Peter.
Have a good one, man.
Oh man!
Did you
Trevor
know
Bauer.
that? Did you know that when Trevor Bauer was on the Indians, he went around to his teammates asking them like why they didn't like him very much?
Yeah,
Did you know that
I do
Trevor
remember
Bauer
that
won't
report.
sign a long-term deal because he made a bet with a friend in high school, saying that if he ever signed a long-term deal, he would get to shoot him point blank for a full round with a paintball gun.
And that's actually true. He signed 1-year deals ever since, right?
Yeah, but I think he's going to sign a long-term deal after this season.
Oh, he must have absolutely. Also, another fun Trevor Bauer fact. After he was traded by the Indians last year, there was a layover day where he came to Progressive Field and just sat in the stands.
Took pictures, signed
pictures
autographs.
with fans. Yeah.
Trevor Bauer's a G. Like, I
He's a
love
great
him.
guy.
I met him at the All-Star game in 2018. He's super chill.
He really is. Trevor Bauer, what a fantastic
And I
guy.
hope he regains form this year.
Yeah, honestly, he didn't look like himself there in Cincinnati, but hopefully he can fix that.
Yeah.
By the way, we never got to your answer, James, about whether you think that.
I said Judge.
Oh, you said okay, so you did say Judge.
Well, yeah, I said it at the very end, and I'll make this clear. It's an interesting point, but given what has happened in 17, I think Judge deserves the MVP. But I mean, it's not going to get taken back now.
No,
like us saying this isn't going to do
And
anything.
why would they? It's just a piece of metal, so
Yeah.
why would they take
What are
it
you
back?
thinking, Andrew?
No, I said Aaron Judge.
You said Judge as well?
Here's my thing. I put this on Twitter as well. I said, look, it must be an absolute terrible situation if I am rooting for something good to happen to the Yankees, because I despise the Yankees with all my heart.
Same
I was
here.
raised being told that hating the
Wow,
Yankees
thanks.
is as American as loving apple pie, okay? And I despise the Yankees. But when I'm sitting here and looking at this and thinking, wow, Aaron Judge actually should have won, and I feel bad for him, like I'm feeling bad for a Yankee, like that's how the situation is bad with the Astros. And I do think personally, for the record, yes, Aaron Judge should have won the 27 MVP.
There was somebody that came up to me and asked me if the Red Sox are still my most hated team.
You're going to say...
It's not the Red Sox anymore.
Like, would you rather see the Red Sox win the World Series than the Astros
I'd
this
rather
year?
see the Red
'Cause
Sox
I feel
win.
like most
Wow.
Yankees fans would. I was thinking about that yesterday, actually.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, are the Yankees still your most hated team?
Yes.
Are they yours?
No, okay, well, here's the thing.
I'm sitting with the
Yes,
Astros.
I
Well, I
still
think it's
hate
more
the Yankees.
personal for the Yankees than any other
Oh, it's
team.
definitely. I was
No,
about to say,
I'm
the Red Sox never got knocked out by the
We did.
Astros.
In
about
17.
Dodgers.
They got knocked out in 17.
Yeah.
Oh, in 17, you're right. I'm
Yeah.
talking in 18 though. You
First
guys got
round.
your revenge essentially.
Yes,
though, I
yes.
mean. And that's the thing. It's not as personal because they've been knocked out. The Yankees been knocked out by the
2 out of the
twice.
last 3 years.
And you know what? And another thing that's really just puts the situation in perspective. When me as a Philadelphia Phillies fan am happy that the Nationals beat the Astros this year. When I'm happy about that they didn't win, that shows you
I
how
think
bad
everyone
it
in
is.
baseball is so happy the Nationals
Oh, I
won
am too,
now.
and I despise the Washington
Yeah.
Nationals. I
How-
despise them, and
how-
I'm so glad that they
And it
won
would
this
have been
year.
a
I
mess.
am. It would have been.
if the Astros won.
I was
It
going
would
to
have
say,
been a mess.
how different? What are the conversations right now if the Astros win the World Series this past
Dude,
year?
I honestly have no idea because it would be
man.
like it's a mess right now. We've talked about it for 40 minutes when we said we'd stay on it for 10.
I know.
But like I really enjoy it. But like it would be such a big mess right now if they beat the Nationals. It would and like it would have been a mess from the National standpoint, not only because they share the same complex with them, but because they would have gotten cheated out when that secret was an open secret within baseball.
Yes.
Have you guys read about everything, the intricacies the Nationals did with their signs? Every
Yeah,
pitcher had
they were
5
warned,
sets.
Because they were
They
tipped
were
by
warned.
Cora, right?
They were
Didn't
tipped by
say something?
Cora. They were tipped by Dodgers players who texted Dozier because he spent 18 with the Dodgers.
Right.
And in the meeting before the World Series with Joe Torre, Lunau, Hinch, Rizzo, and Martinez, Joe Torre made an unusual comment. He said no technology shenanigans.
Really?
I never saw
I did
this.
not see that. That happened this year before Game 1?
It was either the day of Game 1 or the day before Game 1 when they had their pre-series
So
meeting.
he was
I
aware
didn't
of
see
this.
that.
Yeah, they were all aware of it.
Wow.
MLB was just carrying water for the Astros until it was open,
Yeah,
open
yeah.
with Mike Fiers.
Well, they definitely must not have used their technology because they lost every home game in the World Series.
Imagine
so.
how. Imagine just how different like that spring training would be right now if Mike Fiers doesn't come out and say this though. Like if he doesn't have
Yeah.
the guts to go out and say we cheated in the 2017 playoffs, like everything would be so much different right now.
Also, everything would probably still be under wraps if it wasn't for Mike Fiers.
What do you guys think? Because Jose Altuve still is on a Hall of Fame track right now with the career he's put up. How much do you think this tarnishes Jose Altuve's Hall of Fame legacy?
I don't even think it just tarnishes his Hall of Fame legacy, but like just future as a ball player, maybe
Yeah.
as a potential free agent in the future.
Yeah.
Same with the
he's
guys like
he's-
Springer.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say for Springer and Bregman.
Yeah.
I think it impacts Bregman the least.
I think so. Well,
'Cause he's
Bregman
just
did
that good of a
well.
player.
Bregman also did just get his big payday anyways.
So, well, yeah, and Altuve's locked up for 3 or 4 more years too.
Yeah, I know.
It's really Springer that.
you know, I'm going to go out and say, if I'm a baseball writer, I'm sorry, I can't vote Jose Altuve into the Hall of Fame. I don't know because if Jose Altuve goes into the Hall of Fame, then people are going to start making the arguments again. Oh my gosh, steroid users belong in the Hall of Fame now. We have cheaters in the Hall of Fame, so why can't we have steroid users?
I'm going to say it right now, and I know everyone already knows. I think Barry Bonds belongs in the Hall of Fame. But if a guy like Jose Altuve, if it was proven that he cheated like that, was in the Hall of Fame, and Bonds wasn't, I think that's ridiculous.
What do you think about like Springer or Bregman? Like they're not necessarily on Hall of Fame tracks
track
yet,
as much.
but I mean, like Bregman could project out to be.
I'm not voting. I'm saying no.
I still don't think so. I think if you do that, you have to put in the steroid users, especially the amazing steroid users, because I don't care how much you can say, oh, they did steroids. Steroids don't swing the bat. And I think we said earlier in the show, much rather would have faced a steroid user than would have faced someone who knew a pitch was coming.
Yeah, because against steroid users, you can still execute and get them out.
Yeah.
Except
Barry
if you're
Bonds
facing...
wasn't an immortal god.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, except if you were facing Bonds, you could pretty much get any steroid user out. But like if you like Schilling has talked about this, if you know how to execute, you can get those guys out. Because you still have to hit the ball when you're on steroids. Now, like with what Houston did, they knew exactly what pitch was coming.
Yeah,
and they could just tee off.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
So you're saying the same thing? You wouldn't vote Altuve into the Hall of Fame
at this point?
Right now, no.
No, I'm saying so. Like, if Jose Altuve were to continue at this pace,
maybe gets
and gets 3,000 hits.
Yeah,
you don't vote him in.
I'm
not voting him in.
Personally, I can't look past
Not
this.
one Astros player on that 2017 goes in the Hall of Fame for me.
2017 team?
On the 2017
Carlos
Astros.
Beltran doesn't go in the Hall of Fame now?
No.
Wow.
No.
Well, he was the ringleader behind it. That's why I'm not that surprised.
I'm just saying. That's big because he was definitely going to make the Hall of Fame before that.
Yeah, most likely.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone else who's even in the conversation who's on that
Verlander?
team. He still makes it.
Oh, well, he's a pitcher.
I don't think the pitcher's benefited,
I'll
right?
give pitchers an exception.
Verlander's been a huge hypocrite through this whole process because he hates domestic violence abusers, didn't say anything about Ozuna, hates cheaters, didn't say anything about this, but he didn't benefit from it. In the sense that like he wasn't using anything on the mound.
No.
Like he won his ring, sure, but like he's also 0-5 in World Series.
I'm still going to vote it.
I'd vote Verlander.
Yes. Pitchers, yes. Hitters, no. I mean, outside of Beltran, anybody that were recently retired that could have been on the Hall of Fame track.
I don't think Brian McCann.
No.
He'll be on the ballot, but he won't make it. He won't get
like Altuve is on that track right now. Bregman and Springer could get on a Hall of Fame type track if their careers project out like we think they may.
Yeah.
But I think those are the only three guys that you really look at. And
yeah, not even Springer.
Yeah,
No,
I mean, he's probably he'll probably end up being the Hall of Very Good. I think if Bregman keeps up the way he's going, he'll have a case.
Well, it'll be interesting because it seems like all these guys will probably appear on the ballot around the same time if they do. So, and also we got to remember that's a solid. By the time they're on the ballot, almost 20 years from now, there could be a whole new generation of baseball writers in there by then who feel very differently about the situation than the ones that are in now do. You never know. There's a lot of things that could happen, especially with the Hall of Fame. It's a weird process.
Absolutely. And if guys like Bonds and Clemens get in this, like it could open the door for them, or if a new cheating scandal happens that overshadows the
I mean, if you think about it in the past, none of the Black Sox scandals players are in it. Pete Rose isn't in it. You didn't have any of them in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. That's definitely something to look forward to.
Now, what about Red Sox hitters?
No, this.
I think we need to stop talking about the Red Sox until we figure out what the actual
that's true.
And I think if they did something, somebody A would have been a whistleblower, and B half their team has said that they haven't done anything. Like you didn't hear anyone in the Astros saying anything. That.
Of course not.
But plus, like who on the Red Sox? Like what, Mookie or JD? Like JD's not going to make the Hall of Fame, but I'm saying
Ortiz
those would be
wasn't on that.
No, he was not.
Like Mookie and I guess Xander if he like projects out the next 10 years. Like those are the only three guys.
That's pretty much it.
Offensively.
Rafael Devers. I mean, it's way too early, obviously.
He's 20. I mean, yes, he could, but he's also 22 years old.
Yeah,
exactly.
Way
too early to tell. I hope so. I hope so, and he had a great season last year. Like if he has 10 more of those seasons, we'll be talking about him in the Hall of Fame discussion.
Exactly.
But no, way too soon.
Yeah, once again, 202-319-5106 if anyone wants to call and discuss anything baseball related, 202-319-5106. All right, as we said, we talked about the Astros a little bit, only 47 minutes of the broadcast. A fantastic quote, though, I saw by Jeff Pastime the other day. There's so many different layers to this, and all of the different layers of this are so complicated, so interesting, and it's not going to go away anytime soon.
Nope, never will.
So let's go ahead and finally put the Astros behind us, and let's talk about spring training, because it is finally time for baseball. There will be baseball games played this weekend. That is exciting stuff. We're going to actually see some live baseball this season. Most of the teams start on Saturday. Some more of them finish up on Sunday, but throughout the weekend, we will see every baseball team play an actual organized game, and that is very exciting. Full squads are in. We're seeing all the stars come in, have their interviews, talk about all their expectations for the season. So why don't we talk about our expectations for the season? Now, we're not going to go crazy here and talk about crazy, like predictions for awards and divisions, stuff like that. We'll do that as we get closer to the season through spring training. But right now, just some very, very general categories.
Well, before you ask that, who's the one guy that hasn't reported? You guys probably don't know this.
One guy who hasn't reported?
There's one guy who hasn't reported.
In baseball?
Oh, you know what? I was seeing this the other day.
What
What
team?
team? Yeah.
If I say what team, it's going to give it
Is
away.
it's a star?
Yeah.
It's a really good player?
Really good player.
Is it an Astros player?
Is it Hill?
An Astros
It
player?
is an Astros player.
Oh, was it?
Wait, it's not Verlander. I saw him.
It's not Verlander.
Is it
No.
Greinke?
It's Greinke.
Oh, that's
He's not
right.
reporting until February 22nd.
Why?
And wasn't the reason given
His
because he's
social
Zach
anxiety.
Greinke?
Yeah, the reason was because he was Zach Greinke.
That
and
actually, no, I don't think he'd be. I'm sorry, but I don't think Zach Greinke could handle this.
No.
And he's
well,
going
also,
to have
he
to deal
didn't
with
do
it.
anything.
Well,
with
he
it,
actually doesn't he actually have anxiety?
Yes, he does. But I'm saying,
yeah.
no, but I'm saying he wasn't involved in the scandal, so having him being there answering questions about it would do nothing.
No, and he's a weird guy. That wouldn't go over well. You just don't want him to. You
Yeah.
know, it makes sense for him. Let him stay home.
Let's get back to spring training. now.
Absolutely. Let's talk about spring
We
training
talked
here.
enough Astros.
Like I said, a couple of just very low-key categories here that I'd love to let's get some names out there for some of our listeners to watch out for during the spring. Firstly, breakout players. Who are you guys watching this spring that you think has the potential to either break out or just make a name for himself this year? I have one very specific guy in mind who probably no one's ever heard about. But let's start with either James or Robbie. Do any of you guys have someone, whether it be on your own teams or whether it be on another team, that you think is really going to turn some heads this year, whether it be through spring training and then throughout the regular season? Or just
Can I
ahead?
give like 3 or 4? Like,
Yeah,
does
if
it
you
have to
want
be
to.
one?
Go for it.
I think Benintendi is going to take the next step this year. We know
Okay.
the talent is there, and I've alluded to this on the show, and you guys agree with me that like this has to be the year, because if he doesn't turn the corner this year, we don't really know when he's going to turn the corner. And you guys know the talent is there.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
he beat out Alex Bergman for the Golden Spikes in college, #1 prospect. He hit 300 in September of 16 when he came up. Rookie of the year runner-up in 17, had a very good 18, regressed in the second half of 18 and all of last year, but the talent is there. Benintendi needs to step up if the Red Sox are going to be successful. Second, Josh Bell was a monster last year through August, really faded from about August 15th on. The RBI totals dipped, the average dipped, the home run totals dipped, but he had 29 homers in the first half. He didn't get to 40 because he got hurt on September 12th, but we saw Josh Bell last year. Through the first 4 or 5 months of the year, was one of the most complete hitters in baseball. I don't know how he wasn't a starter. I don't know how he wasn't voted in as a starter in the All-Star game. He should have been in over Freddie Freeman, who was an absolute beast. But I think Josh Bell is really gonna finish this year off and like really make himself a superstar. Third, this might surprise you guys a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to reach superstardom this year, but I think he's going to have a big year and take the next step as a young player. Nick Senzel, Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
He's had injury history.
That's a good one.
He had a rough go of it last year. Was adjusting to a new position, but he was so heralded as a pure hitter when he came out of Tennessee when the Reds drafted him in 2016. The potential has always been there. He raked in the minors. We saw flashes of it last year, and this Reds team is poised to make that next step this year, and he's going to have to set the tone at the top of the order.
There's your guys. Those are 3. Very good.
Yeah, and if I think of any more throughout, I'll.
Yeah, and we have
Just
some other
saying.
categories
Yeah.
as well, like return to form kind of guys. Rob,
Yeah,
do you have
I-
anyone in particular?
I really wasn't well prepared for this question, but off the
Oh, sorry
top of my
about
head,
Yeah.
I think this guy's going to make a name for himself this year. Caleb Smith
Okay.
of the Marlins.
Marlins?
I could see him doing
He was
something
solid
pretty
first
good.
half last
He
year.
was
He
solid in
probably
the
should have
first.
been their all-star instead
Yeah.
of what's his face, Alcantara.
Yeah.
I could see Andrelton Simmons having a big year. He's a free agent at the end of the year. I think that Simmons is going to look to perform well and have a big payday. Those are probably the 2 big guys I really know off
That's fair.
the top of my head.
It's funny you mentioned the Marlins because I have 2 guys. My first one is actually Sandy Alcantara, and he was the lone representative for the Marlins last year in the All-Star game. But I've seen this guy so many times facing him against the Phillies, and he has electric stuff. I really think he's going to take the next step this year and be the young ace that they wished a guy like Jose Fernandez could have been for them down there in Miami. So very big fan of Sandy Alcantara. And number 2. Do any of you know who Kyle Garlick is?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love Kyle Garlick, and I have loved him for a solid couple of months ever since I saw him called up with the Dodgers last year. And when I saw the Phillies acquired him off the waiver wire, I was just unbelievably ecstatic. Now, Kyle Garlick, in my opinion, you can take this prediction to the bank here. I think he is the next this year. Let me say this year's Gio Urshela.
Is he breaking camp?
He is breaking camp. He is there. I think he's going to win the spot for a bench. Kyle, he's what is he right now? He's 27, so he's a little old coming up. fantastic splits against left-handed pitchers last year. An OPS over 1,000 in the little bit of time he played against them. Fantastic fourth outfielder in general for the Dodgers. The only reason he was put on the waiver wire is because they need to make room for Mookie Betts, and that team is so absolutely loaded with outfield talent. They weren't going to drop a guy like Peterson. The trade fell through, so they had to put Garlick, and he did not clear waivers, and the Phillies got him. I think Kyle Garlick is going to... He's not going to be probably a superstar, but I think he's going to make some heads turn, and people are going to know the name after this year. Just kind of like how nobody knew who Gio Urshela was until he cranked out 30 home runs.
Well, it does help that he was playing with the Yankees. I mean, like, anytime you perform well with the Yankees, it's
right.
gonna...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, are we doing bounce-back candidates?
Yes, the next category actually return to form / bounce back guys.
Okay,
Do you have a very particular one for that?
I do. This probably won't surprise many people, but somebody off the top of my head for a bounce back, I'm going to go with Noah Syndergaard.
Okay.
Syndergaard was very bad last year. He had an ERA of almost 5.00. I believe that he's going to be poised for a bounce back season. And then, if the Mets are not contending by the trade deadline, I think that they're going to look to move him this year.
When is he a free agent? At the end of next year,
Next
I
year.
believe?
End of next year.
So you can get a rest of the year from him and another year of control. That's pretty big.
I think that I'm not sure he's going to get traded, but I think that this year there are going to be more rumors surrounding Noah Syndergaard than last year. And last year there were quite a few trade rumors, but I think that this year he's going to be better than he was last year, and I think that the Mets actually might trade him this year if they're not contending.
All right. James, any bounce back
Well,
players in particular?
Syndergaard was going to be my main one.
Yeah.
But also Chris Sale.
Yes. I was going to say Chris Sale is mine.
Okay.
But yes, that's a good point.
Can I
Oh,
get
go
another,
ahead. Yeah,
can I
you're
get
the Red
another
Sox
one?
fan, yes.
Stanton?
That's what I was thinking about, but he was also hurt.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to say a guy like McCutchen, but that's almost too easy because they were hurt. Like,
I feel like you could say Syndergaard is kind of easy. Like, I feel like most people know he's going to be better this year.
I would hope he is. If he's not, there's going to be some serious concern.
Jake Arrieta?
Jake Arrieta, my favorite Phillies pitcher. Now, here's the thing about Jake Arrieta.
Can I get one more?
Go ahead.
Jose
Yeah,
Ramirez.
Jose who?
Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Super. What was he? Second or third place in the MVP?
He was
voting?
third in 18.
Third in 18, and then just fell off.
Yeah,
this
but then
year.
from like the All-Star break on last year, he put together a solid second half. So
He's too talented.
Yeah, I
I
think he's
going to
bounce back.
And I also think of the two between him and Lindor, he's the one they're going to keep because he's going to be much cheaper than Lindor.
Isn't he already on a team-friendly deal right
he
now?
is, but even when that expires, he's still only going to be like 28, 29, I think, maybe 30. So yeah, I think they're going to keep him
2
around
years.
instead of Francisco Lindor.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately.
So who's yours then? If I took Sale, but I mean,
yeah, I was
he
gonna
was the
say
most
Chris
obvious as a
Sale.
Red Sox fan.
Chris Sale, long time been one of my favorite pitchers in all baseball. Loved him with the White Sox, and he's too talented. He's gonna come back and have a fantastic.
You know he has the
year
second best odds to win the AL Cy Young.
Does
you
he
probably
really?
didn't know that. Yeah,
Who
Vegas.
was he behind? Garrett Cole, right? Yeah,
and Snell is third.
You know,
wow.
I
Snell
got
didn't have a good year last year though.
No, but I mean he was hurt. He was
very
hurt.
true.
somebody who I want to make a quick point.
Sure.
I believe that Dylan Betances could have a bounce back season too.
Right.
Signed a 1-year deal with the Mets. Is betting on himself.
Yeah.
And I believe that he could do that. Another guy to look out for, Marcel Ozuna.
Damn, I was just
about
gonna say that.
I beat you to the spot,
Stealing
man.
everything today.
Beat you to the spot, man.
All right, looks like we got a caller here. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Who are we talking to? Uh-oh, we have a little bit of problem here. Seems like we're having some technical difficulties with the caller there. We're going to go try and get him back. Hello, caller.
Oh.
Looks like we lost him. All right, if that was you out there, go ahead and give us a call back. Looks like we have some technical difficulties here in the studio. Yeah, Marcel Ozuna, though, absolutely one of my picks as well. Betting on himself, I think he's going to have a monster year for the Braves and then sign a way too big contract next season. Another guy who's going to do that, we've seen it with, but we're going to see it with Betances, we're going to see it with Ozuna, we're going to see it with Didi Gregorius. All three of them are going to have fantastic years and then get paid way too much money by a different team. At least I hope so, because I don't want to sign Didi Gregorius to a 5-year deal when he's 31. But we shall see what happens. There we go. Looks like we have our caller back here now.
Hello.
Hello, caller. You're on air.
Hi, it's Dr. Rob. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey,
how you doing,
Rob,
Dr.
how are
Rob?
you?
Good, good. Hey, I did a little research this week. My reason I'm fascinated with baseball is the economic impact of the World Series.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yes.
what we talked about last week. What'd you find?
And he sent me an article about
Well-
Miller Park. I read it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good article.
Well, I found, but that was Miller Park. But for the Nationals, I found very little empirical data. I did find an article from the Chamber of Commerce, which you can't say is a independent source, that said that they expected over the 2 days of the World Series, I think it was the first 2 days, they expected about 6.5 million in additional economic impact, which I thought was pretty low. But no one's really studied this issue. There's two guys up at Holy Cross who looked at 129 postseason games for the MLB. And his conclusion was, with the NFL, there is a much bigger impact because the NFL games are scheduled years in advance, so you know what cities are going to get it. So you can plan your travel. They can plan the hotels. They can plan all the amenities. But with the World Series, you don't know what city is going to play until the last minute.
Oh, that's a great point.
So how do you make travel plans?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And that's why most people who go to a World Series game, they're from that area, or they're from the opposing.
Right, absolutely.
So I thought that was interesting. It'd be interesting whether you could plan to have the World Series in one city. But that probably is not part of the culture of Major League Baseball.
No, not at all.
No.
Because I think it would always be in nice weather places instead of, say, maybe up in New York City in November.
Yeah, and honestly, you're right. That's not really part of the culture of baseball.
Yeah, well, it's only in football where it's at a neutral site. Even in hockey and basketball, it's also the same as baseball.
So it really is only an NFL thing, yeah.
No, that's a good point. But the I'm sure the All-Star game is planned out.
Yes.
So I think what you have to do is kind of compare the MLB All-Star game, what they're doing, how much they have, what kind of economic impact they have.
Right, absolutely.
It's interesting. Which brings me to a point about which brings me to this week's hint. When it comes to stadium funding, D.C. issued, I think, about $600 million in bonds to build the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons businesses like the city to issue bonds is because the nominal interest rate on a bond is made up of three parts. One is the expected inflation rate. Number two, the risk, an interest bump to account for the risk of the investment to the investor. And number three, what we call the real rate of return. When a city issues a bond, and cities are backed by taxpayers, the risk of default is very, very low. So therefore, a city can issue a bond at a lower rate of interest and thus lower the cost of building the stadium than if a private entity did. And tomorrow in class, we're going to learn about how we value bonds and how we determine interest rates.
That's right.
So, and in addition to recovering from the test.
Yeah.
And before anybody asks, I have not graded him yet.
Okay. And do we have a hint for the quiz tomorrow?
That is the hint.
Oh, okay.
That is the hint, and I tie the hint into the baseball. So going back, I'll repeat it. The reason cities issue bonds instead of a private entity like Major League Baseball is that their risk factor that is factored into the interest rate that is charged is almost zero because there is no risk for a city issuing bonds because the city is backed by the taxpayer. So the nominal interest rate, which is the interest rate the bond pays, is made up of the real rate, which is the real rate of return, plus the risk factor, plus inflation.
All right.
Does that make sense?
There you have it.
Yeah.
That is your official hint of the week for finance.
The
I
hint of the
forget the
week.
name again.
Finance.
And I really
226.
appreciate you guys taking my call.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for calling in. We look forward
Thank you
to it
very
every
much.
week.
All right. Hey, you guys take care.
Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Dr. Rob. Once again, there is your hint of the week for Finance 226. Remember, all members of that class, please listen in the nation's pastime and the nation's capital for your weekly hint. And as we draw to a close here, why don't we finish up each with one rookie that we think is going to have a fantastic impact on their team in 2020, because there's a lot of good ones out there, there's a lot of top prospects, and there's a lot that could be seeing some major league time, whether it be right out of the gate in March this year or later in the year, end of April and early May. So, do you guys have anyone in particular that you feel, as a rookie, is going to have a huge impact on their team this year?
Well, I mean, I have an obvious guy, but
I also do have an obvious guy. Do you want to go first?
Gavin Lux.
Oh, yeah,
That's pretty obvious.
I was going to say Luis Robert.
Okay, I have Chicago.
I mean,
White Sox, yeah.
I don't know if Robert is. Do you guys think Robert's going to come up at the beginning of the season?
May. Service
They
time.
might do the service time thing. I think we're going to see that with a lot of the guys.
How about Brendan McKay? Yeah, Tampa Bay.
I could see that happening.
I think he's gonna be pretty good.
When is Adley Rushman still far away?
Oh, he's not coming up this year.
That's
That's what I
not,
thought.
no.
Yeah, I just remember that he was a very big piece of that deal. So, or no, they drafted.
They
him.
drafted him
number
number
one.
I'm thinking of. Oh my gosh, Diaz. Was he the guy they got for Machado? Who's the guy
Yes.
that- Diaz. That's
Yeah.
what it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's close or not too, but I remember that was a pretty big name back when they did trade him. The Dodgers just seem to have an endless string of guys here, and they kept Ruiz and they kept Lux and they kept
It's
all
because
these
they
guys.
keep getting international free agents.
Yeah.
International free agents love Los Angeles.
They are just
Okay, I'll go with a
fantastic.
non-obvious guy, Taylor Trammell
Okay.
Okay.
Taylor Trammell, that's pretty good.
or Joe Adell.
Yeah, I was gonna go with
okay,
with
no.
Robert as well, but I guess
Luis
looking at
Robert.
it now, that's pretty obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think though, if we figure out if the service manipulation time is going to be a thing, I do see Spencer Howard coming up and making a huge difference if he can figure out the rest of his stuff with his pitches there, because this is a team that is lacking greatly starting pitching, and if a rookie could come up and just light the fire to that rotation behind Nolan Wheeler would be absolutely sensational. I think there's a reason that Howard has not been moved and that Sanchez was the one who chose to be moved over Spencer Howard. So my pick, Spencer Howard. Luis Robert would have been my obvious one. We have Gavin Lux, and we have Taylor. I'm sorry. Well, who was that again?
Taylor Trammell.
Oh, Trammell. Yeah, that's right. I don't know why I forgot his name. Yes, Taylor Trammell as well. So some very good picks there for rookies who will have big impacts on their team in 2020. One of the most exciting things about the new season is seeing what new rookies come up and rise to stardom. We saw it last year with a lot of guys like Alvarez, Alonso, and of course some other ones as well like Tatis and Bo Bichette. Oh my goodness, Bo Bichette. I love him. What a fantastic
Did
player.
you say Pete Alonso?
Of course I said Pete Alonso, yes.
Victor Robles even.
But you know what? Going back now, I'm going to say Bo Bichette might be one of my breakout guys because he honestly broke out when he was called up last year.
How about Vladdy? Can Vladdy be a breakout guy?
Nah,
I don't think
I'm
so.
gonna sit here and say it right now. I think Bo Bichette's a more talented player than Vlad Guerrero Jr.
I also agree with this.
I love Bo Bichette. He's gonna make an All-Star team this year.
Is he gonna have a better career?
He's going to have a better career than Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Do you think he's gonna be do you think he's gonna make the All-Star team? Bichette?
Yes, Bo Bichette's gonna make the
This
All-Star
year?
team.
All right.
This
Oh
year.
my goodness.
No, I mean no.
This
I
year.
think he'll be talented enough too, but I'm just saying shortstop in the
this
AL
year.
is loaded.
I don't
Not
think he's
this
gonna be
year.
the starter, but I
No.
think he'll make
No,
the team.
not this
Bogarts, Lindor, and then you have Bichette.
I think he could easily be a
Representative
reserve.
from the Blue Jays in the All-Star game, Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Not Bo Bichette.
Not this year.
Wow. Okay.
Way too soon.
Okay, sleeping on my guy Bo, but that's okay. We will see. We will see. Ryu is that's an interesting choice. Okay, you don't think it's gonna be Vlad or
It could be Vlad Guerrero Jr. It's not
Cavan
gonna,
Biggio? You don't think it's gonna be him?
No.
He's not.
No,
I honestly don't
I'm
think
not
he's
the
that
Hound
great.
Biggio.
No, I'm not.
I love Bo Bichette, but like Vladdy is like he could be special.
It's gonna be
He didn't
Vlad
look
or Ryu
special,
this year.
special last
But neither
year.
did Mike Trout in July of 2011.
Okay. Oh,
Hit
we're gonna
220.
put
No,
that
but
one.
like seriously, we have not seen a prospect as hyped as Vladdy since what Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
Like, give
Steven Strasburg.
Vladdy a full year to get like we gave him a full year. Like let's see what he can do this
Okay,
year.
fine. I'll give Vlad the benefit of the doubt. I still think he's a fantastic player, and there's going to be some good baseball played in Toronto for a long time to come with that young core guys. But I'm a Bo Bichette guy all the way, and I think he's a much more talented and versatile player. But only time will tell, and we have a lot of that to see over spring training. As all squads reported, we are officially in the baseball season of 2020. We're going to have baseball this season, and when we come back to you guys next week at Wednesday, we will be in the midst of actual organized baseball games, which is music to all of our hearers as the national pastime is back in action, at least in Florida and Arizona, and soon to be across the North America. I'm sorry, there is also teams in Canada. So yes, across North America. With that said, thank you so much for tuning in tonight to Nation's Pastime and the Nation's Capital. Just a reminder, we will be live again next week, 8 to 9 here on WCUA Radio. Catch our shows posted in podcast form on our Twitter. Follow that at NatPastimeCap. And for my co-hosts James Higgins and Robbie Cruz, I've been your host Andrew Snaith, and have a fantastic rest of your evening.